Hey, what's up, everyone? It is a Saturday here in Las Vegas, and I will not be leaving the house today. I said yesterday that I wasn't really feeling my best, but I thought, load up on some medicine, battle through, get over to the Venetian, play some poker. But I could tell when I finished up last night that the cold was really starting to hit me, and then this morning it was obvious that it was just not going to happen. We were not going to be leaving the house. So I figured I'd do a quick update and then spend the rest of the time today just resting and loading up on meds and doing what I can to be in good shape for tomorrow. But I'm going to need my focus tomorrow because yesterday at the Venetian went really well. It was the $800 8 max tournament. I was playing my third bullet in it, and in the early goings, I won a huge pot where I tried to squeeze against three players with King Queen out of the big blind, and one of the players in the pot on the button announced a re-raise. He initially called a raise, and then he says, "I re-raise," and then he string bets, by which I mean he put his chips piece by piece into the pot, and so the dealer called him on it and said, "That's a string bet. You have to raise the minimum now." So the other guy folded, and of course I called with my king queen, and the flop came king queen queen, and I checked, and he was like all in, and yeah, I snap called. He had ace king. We doubled up right away, and then we just had really good hands for a while. I had aces and kings, and they all won pretty good pots. And I sat there for like hours after that. Card dead. Other people on the table came by, and they started to run out and smash. I played a big hand where I cold 4-bet ripped ace 5 suited. Got called by ace king and drilled on the guy, so that's always really fun. And then going into the last 2 hours last night, I was like kind of short. I had maybe 20 something blinds, and then I just won all of the all-ins. Like every single all-in you can imagine, I won it. And in the most absurd fashion too. Like, a guy would get all in from the small blind with ace 9 of clubs against my queen 10 of diamonds, and the flop would come king jack X 2 clubs, and I'd hit the 10 of hearts and then hold. Or I got in ace deuce with the deuce of diamonds against pocket tens, and the flop comes like jack 5 3 all diamonds. So I basically can't hit a diamond. I can hit like an ace or a 4 not of diamonds, and I just drill a black ace on the river. Dirty stuff like that, which is really fun because sometimes it's just your turn in tournaments, and when so many of these pots are like 15 big blinds effective, you just have to run really, really good. So awesome that I have one of the bigger stacks going into tomorrow. Tournaments are so, there's so much volatility in tournaments that having a lot of chips doesn't really mean anything. It's like, yeah, I got a huge stack and everything, but you could lose a couple of all-ins and it's over. I had a good stack last week going into day 2 of the 600, and I lasted 45 minutes because I lost 3 all-ins. So it doesn't mean too much, but I'm definitely in a good position, and there won't be that many players left. So tomorrow on my Instagram story, I'll keep the updates coming. As for today, I was really hoping there would be some regular season NBA to do like daily fantasy sports and relax, but it's actually the All-Star break. Yesterday I was looking at the odds in the 3-point contest, and there's 10 players in the contest, and there was some guys, Steph Curry was incredibly short odds. He was like 3-2 or something silly like that. There was a bunch of guys who were about 7-1, and then I was curious about Danny Green, who plays for Toronto. I saw him at 16-1 in one place. I thought that might be interesting. He shoots like 40% from 3. I was curious about Chris Middleton. I saw him at FanDuel at 20-1. So I started asking around with the NBA experts I know, and the feedback I got, I'll cut off for a question. Is there any AAF fantasy studs? You know what? I haven't looked into the AAF yet too much. I'm really curious about this new league. From what I understand, there's only 8 teams, so it's not like there's all that much learning to do, but I haven't taken the deep dive into it, but I do kind of think this one might work. The fact that they attracted more viewership, more ratings on their opening night than the NBA is a really strong signal that this might be here to stay. But you know what? I can't say that I have really looked over the AAF so far, so I'm not going to give you any opinions there, but I did my homework on the 3-point contest, and yeah, from what it sounded like, the guys who have a jump and then shoot style, as Danny Green does, don't fare that well in the 3-point contest. It's really a mix of speed and endurance, and it tends to favor the guys with a very quick release. So I asked Aaron Jones, and Asani Fisher, my roommate, 2 guys that are really knowledgeable about NBA. They felt that basically the odds were too short on anyone who might win to make it a reasonable bet, so I elected not to bet. And, Aaron said if he was going to take a shot on somebody, maybe it would be Seth Curry, who was like 7-1, or Buddy Hield, who was in the same range. But that they didn't think the odds were long enough on those guys to warrant a bet. So I elected to not bet. An exciting story of not gambling. But if you want to gamble well, I do think it's important to kind of like vet your bets and think over, should I even be making this in the first place? So I don't know what I'm gonna do with myself today. I hear the series Russian Doll on Netflix is super good, and maybe I'll just binge that and play some online poker later, or just sleep a bunch. I don't know. But we'll be back with more. Dirk. What about Dirk going out without a Banks? I don't know too much about Dirk's three shooting form. It certainly seems like a pretty slow wind up and release, if memory serves. It doesn't seem like a guy that's that well designed for the 3-point contest if it's going to reward speed. But I will say that he had the longest odds by a lot. He was like 25 or 40 to 1 or something silly. So I don't know. If you've got a special place in your heart for Dirk and you want to get the long shot bet in on his very last year in the NBA, I don't know. Maybe go for it. I'm a little surprised Luka Doncic isn't in all of this, although I guess his 3-point percentage isn't that high yet. But man, that guy is the future for sure. So yeah, I don't know. We'll check out the 3-point contest, get some rest, and we'll be back for more tomorrow from the Venetian, where hopefully we'll make a final table. All right, later, guys.